In the movie This Is the End, Rihanna told Michael Cera he could actually slap her ass for a scene if she could actually slap him in the face in return. On the take used in the movie, Rihanna slapped him so hard, Cera had to go lay down in his trailer for around half an hour. She slapped the shit out of him. I remember he held his face afterwards. That's why I was thinking, dude, this was real. Epic scene. I love that movie. I think you guys know, I have the keyboard Craig Robinson played in that movie. I won it at an auction. 54,000 upvotes. I'll give it 1 too. Oh, I gotta make this bigger. That's what she said. Mycologist Harry asks, on the take used in the movie, how many times did he slap her ass on all the takes? I believe the video I saw said 5 takes. On the final take, she went as hard as she could, cupped her hand, and slapped him in the ear, throwing his equilibrium out of whack. That's why he needed to lay down. So that's where his eyebrows went. All right, let's check out the scene. Winds up, slap, wham. Such a hard hit. You can see him regaining composure, and then goes right back into character. So funny. I love that movie. When asked, Cera replied, worth it. All right, let's move on. Today I learned that when Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit wrote the song Hot Dog as a diss track aimed at Trent Reznor, he used so much material from Nine Inch Nails songs that he had to give Trent Reznor a writing credit and pay him royalties. That is so funny. Submitted by Essex Guy Up North with 42,000 upvotes. Always Fatigued says, now Reznor is still enjoying that big hot dog money to this day. Gnome Not asks, is it really a diss track if you have to pay the person you are writing it about? Wally Spark says, Dr. Dre paid Eazy-E for Dre Day. Everyone still considers it a diss track. Novus Tam says, everyone in the industry knows beef, be it fabricated or real, gets publicity and money typically for both artists. This has been known and done for years. Upvote. Today I learned, in 452, when Attila the Hun was threatening Rome, the Pope himself, Pope Leo I, went out to meet him personally. The specifics of the meeting aren't known, but afterwards, Attila turned around and never invaded the city. It's surprising to me that people don't know what happened, saying the specifics of the meeting aren't known. They are known. The Pope went out and gave Attila a PSA 10 Illustrator Pikachu. Do people not know this? I thought it was documented already. This has 37,000 upvotes, submitted by Too Spooky For Me. It sucks there, bro. You won't like it. The only reason I live there is for work. Upvote. Of note, Attila died the next year. It's possible he was planning to return and never got the chance. It's kind of what the Huns did. Just speculation though. Would love to know what happened. I told you he gave him a PSA 10 Illustrator Pikachu. Tell me who bought the PSA 10 Illustrator Pikachu, the most expensive card ever sold, and how much it sold for, and I'll pin you to the top. Today I learned over half of Americans use subtitles at least some of the time while watching TV, and the biggest reason is that dialogue has become harder to hear. One contributing factor is digital sound recording that allows many overlapping audio tracks to run at once, which can make speech less clear. I remember Dylan and I used to turn the subtitles on a lot. You guys turn on subtitles? Leave in the comments. I'm curious. Dal Geek says, the music and special effects are twice as loud as the speech. Maybe that's cool in a movie theater, but I'm not blasting my speakers at 100 decibels just so I can hear people talking. Hans on Feet says, it doesn't make sense how they haven't fixed this yet. I am also one of those that has to put subtitles on for everything I watch. I Be Trippin' says, I use them a lot, but rarely do I have to use captions with older movies or shows. And by older, I don't mean the Maltese Falcon or the Marx Brothers. I mean more recent movies from the 2000s and earlier, before this audio trend began. Mellow Mallow Mom says, I always read the subtitles because I was a video captioner for years and I love spotting the errors. It is fun. I like spotting the errors as well. I do the same thing. It kind of takes away from the show, but it's okay. It's like a little sub game I like to play. Today I learned George Washington borrowed The Law of Nations from the New York Society Library and never returned it. In 2010, the head librarian joked that, though they weren't pursuing the overdue fines, they'd appreciate having it back. A month later, the Mount Vernon estate returned it, 221 years overdue. That's awesome. That was submitted by Tyrion 2024. 32,000 upvotes. Mark Michigan says, "It is about time it was returned. I've been waiting on the waiting list for a while now." Very funny. Chicky23 says he owes our local tannery for some leather too. Wow, no way. Just kidding about not pursuing the fines. Crafty Fox YouTube says, apparently the New York Society Library is a different entity from the New York Public Library. You have to pay a $285 annual membership fee to use it. No way. I'm not upvoting it. I like free libraries. Okay, I'll upvote it. Real Kenny says, another Washington, D.C. bigwig getting away with not paying a fine. Moving on. Today I learned about 30% of people are natural night owls, genetically predisposed to peak later in the day. That's me. This was written for me. Submitted by Background Classic 88 with 30,000 upvotes. Chapter PT says, I used to work days. I was exhausted, high blood pressure, high sugars, overweight, IBS. Switched to third shift, all above resolved, down from 3 to 1 blood pressure medications. I'm almost regular. All that and 20% bonus for third shift. I have no social life, but I enjoy my life. Very good. Good for you. Oh, here we go. Got a highlighted gold comment by Epidemic Saints. Also of note, morning people tend to wake up energized and lose energy throughout the day. Night people wake up drowsy and gain energy throughout. This is why morning people get so much done before work but fall asleep before dinner. There's a lot more tolerance and understanding about this diversity in life in the workplace now, but getting lectures about being lazy from morning people always cracked me up because they were absolutely useless after 3 p.m., no matter how frisky and chatty they were at 6 a.m. They simply never saw you at your most productive, and you had to do it all quietly on top of it. I totally identify with this. I'm one of those people. I would get a ton of my work done after many people left. There are some people that can just go nonstop, like morning to night, but I definitely identify with this. And the trash talking from the morning people, or the looks of disdain looking down on the people that come in late and stay later, it gets a little exhausting. No pun intended. Let's move on. Today I learned when you burn a pound of fat, 84% leaves your body as CO2. So after you run, you are basically breathing out the fat you burned. This is submitted by Magnificent Cat with 19,000 upvotes. That's pretty fascinating. I almost want to read the article like someone responsible would do, but I'm not going to. I'll just take Magnificent Cat's word for it. Offering a thought says, and the dry weight of a tree is 50% carbon, primarily from the CO2 it absorbed from the air during photosynthesis. In other words, you could turn your fat ass into the tree that you jog past. It's the circle of life. Today I learned about the 3 Christs of Ypsilanti, a psychiatric case study where 3 men who each believed themselves to be Jesus Christ were forced to interact with each other. This was submitted by Yeet or Be Yote with 28,000 upvotes. First comment by Look to Windward says, while initially the 3 patients quarreled over who was holier and reached the point of physical altercation, they eventually each explained away the other 2 as being patients with a mental disability in a hospital or dead and being operated by machines. Robots. Always robots. Hello, I am Jesus. That over there is zombie robot imposter Jesus, and that guy over there is a lunatic. One of them basically said during an argument, you 2 are patients in a mental institution. I'm not arguing with a crazy person. Malthouse1 says, apparently there is a mental hospital outside of Jerusalem which deals with multiple cases of this sort a year. The problem is the so-called Jerusalem syndrome, in which mentally ill people make their way to Jerusalem and declare themselves the Messiah. Presumably, if one had a tendency in that direction, going to Jerusalem to express one's messiahdom is the thing one would do. They get around 50 a year. Group therapy must be interesting. Bocce the Glock says, group therapy. Okay, Akeem, I appreciate your input, but Lagarnoth is currently holding the sharing scepter. You wouldn't like it if someone spoke in your sharing time, would you? There was a movie made about it called Three Christs. It starred Richard Gere, Peter Dinklage, and Walton Goggins. That is an amazing cast. Wow. Let's move on. Today I learned that Starbucks holds almost $2 billion in the form of money people keep in the app or gift cards. They make hundreds of millions of dollars per year off of customers not buying coffee. It's true. I've known about this. Submitted by Lousy D with 24,000 upvotes. Zvera R says, about 10% to 20% of all the vouchers purchased never get redeemed. Basically, any voucher you sell as a company equals 10 to 20% of no effort profit. Outside Reserve responds, I remember back in the day, store gift certificates were actual paper gift certificates, and many places just give you back change with cash if you purchased something cheaper than the denomination amount. The switch to debit card style gift certificates was a smart move for retailers. Yeah, I too am older than time. I'll upvote that. And on that note, we're gonna go ahead and be bad people and contribute to the madness. I'm going to toss up a $15 Starbucks code on the screen right now. First person to add it to their Starbucks account gets a coffee or two on me, or a matcha. Go grab yourself, ooh, you know what would be nice? Either a pumpkin spice or a toffee nut latte. This is the time of year. Those are some of my favorite drinks right there. A matcha, a toffee nut latte, and the pumpkin spice drinks. Or a caramel macchiato. You know what? Guess who's going to Starbucks right now? Paulette, Starbucks run? Let's go. We're going to do it. Let me know if you guys want me to read anything in particular in the comments. And love you guys.